Willie Leroux at 15, Chetan Colby at 14, Lucanio at 13, 12 Damien Dalenda, 11 Saboon Corsi, and then Mornay Steyn 10, Faf 9, and then the loose forwards is Jasper Wiese, Pieter Steef de Tooy, and Marco van Staden. The two locks is Franco Mostert and Evan Etzebeth, and the front row is Trevor Nyakane, Joseph Dweba, Stephen Kitchoff. The replacements, hooker is Malcolm Marx, the two props is Koenie Oosthuizen and Vincent Koch. Then we've got Nicholas Jansen van Rensburg as the second row backup, and Reinhard Elstedt as the loose forward. The three backs is Hurstel Jantjies, Jesse Kriel, and Damien Willemse.
Thank you, Rassie. Over to you, Matthew Pearce.
Thank you, Rayon. Rassie, good afternoon to you. Given the cancellation of the second Georgia test, can you just talk to the significance of this game?
Yes,
not only for the Lions, but for these players to stake a claim for test places.
Yes, it is in one way a massive thing, Matthew, but it is in another way, there's some players that you just have a lot of knowledge about and that you've worked with a lot under pressure during World Cups. And for some of those, it's just to get them fit and match fit and ready because you know their class and you know what they've done for you in the past. That's not to say that other guys can't knock down the door. Now, if we had the Georgian test match, and we had the SAA game, it would have been much easier to make those decisions. But we have this one game so far, and we're really trying hard to get another game on Saturday or to confirm another game on Saturday. So, yes, it's tough, but, we can't just throw senior guys away because their form was maybe not that great, or they might not be match fit, or they might come back. So, guys, it's not a lot of you probably won't pick. But then again, with the combination of young guys coming, but I think that one match obviously has a massive impact, and it made the team selection for this SAA game certainly different than what it would have been if we did have the Georgian test match.
So in some respects, you're saying your hand has been forced, but it does give certain players in this selection an opportunity for the first time.
Well, there's certainly quite a few guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, excuse for that, Rassie. Can everyone just mute their sound, please? Thank you.
It was yours, Rayon. No, so if you Matthew, there's obviously some young new guys in the mix here, like Jasper Wiese and those kind of guys who gets a start against a couple, between a lot of experienced guys and guys with a lot of caps. And some of the old guys are turning back into the mix, like Mornay Steyn, Koenie Oosthuizen, and so on. So, yes, certainly, but we are going to try our best to get a match on Saturday as well. So, yes, guys can play themselves in and out of the squad, just like I think the Lions, Warren Gatland Lions can do. But, yes, this game is very important. But we want to have another game on Saturday to make the best choice and to give the Lions the opportunity to play against the best possible Springbok. But exactly, I don't think they want to play, or they want to play against a team that doesn't have the opportunity to give all our guys proper chance. So we're hoping for another match on Saturday.
Rassie, just finally, from you've seen from the Lions so far, I mean, Warren Gatland has made 12 changes for this game on Wednesday. And there certainly seems to be a lot of optionality for him within his selection.
Yeah, I think they would have planned. I think if you look at that Lions series, which was that documentary, I watched it, and the way they planned that documentary was to rotate players and give everybody in the squad some game time. Now, if you get 5 or 6 matches before the series starts, then obviously you've got that luxury of doing that. And currently, they haven't had a match cancelled, and they are playing us on Wednesday. So yes, it is a fortunate position. But again, they are a team that has come from all over the 4 countries, and they must gel together. So I guess they do need a lot of time. I don't think our situation is so much to do with gelling at this stage. I think it is with match fitness is probably our problem, because when you do get COVID, you are ill. You must recover from COVID. Some guys do sometimes have symptoms. Our match fitness in terms of when some guys last played is a bit of a worry. The fact that we have played together a lot of times, these guys and a lot of these players, I don't think the gel part is as tough as Warren has on his hands. But then again, we must just compliment the way they clicked and played. It will be interesting to see how they do against, they're doing well against provincial teams without 45 Springboks. So it will be interesting to see how we go on Wednesday, when it's almost the same kind of players of caliber. And I think the match fitness might catch us a little bit, but that's why we're having these games.
Thanks, Russ. Thank you, Rayan.
Thank you, Rassie, and thank you, Matthew Pierce of SuperSport. Now I'm going over to questions, and Mark Gleeson, you're up first. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, Mr. Erasmus. Can I ask you, you say you're trying to get another game on Saturday, presumably for the A side, if I understand you correctly. What process do you have to go through to get that? Presumably you as SA Rugby can change it at your will?
No. If we would have, if we were in the position, we were so powerful just to change it, we would just ask Warren and the team, can we play another SA game against them on Saturday? For me, and this is my view, that will be the safest. We've been tested negative now 2 days in a row. We don't have a positive case with the squad currently where we are sitting in Cape Town in a hotel. We're in a totally hard bubble. We're moving nowhere. Staff, everybody's negative. The British and Irish squad is negative. Now, my honest opinion is, if they are going to play against a team like the Stormers or the Sharks, or we play against a team like the Sharks to come in, I think the chances of infection is as good as we had when we played Georgia. Up until the Georgian test match, we had one case, which was Rassie Erasmus. And then after the Georgian test match, we had 8 management alone positive. So I think the moment you bring teams from the outside in, not that I'm pointing fingers at Georgia, I'm just saying it's a very tough situation to control. Like when we brought guys in when the Regulation 9 kicked in, the guys we brought in from abroad, like Vincent Koch and Rassie Erasmus, although they were false positives, that's when we actually got infections. It wasn't when we were staying in our bubble. So after we played Georgia, that's when all our infections started. So I think, in my opinion, if the two of us can play a SAA game on Wednesday and play another one on Saturday, I think medically, player welfare, and also for the spectators, it would be wonderful to have 2 good matchups in mixing teams and playing twice. And I'm sure one of the guys wouldn't be afraid or scared or say no to that. So I think if I could have my way and we could ask for that, that'd be fantastic. And I think the people will enjoy it. Yes, so that would be ideal, but obviously I can't just make those decisions. It's not me. There's a Lions board and CEOs and a lot of other stakeholders involved.
Are you confident, though, that it can happen?
Well, I'm going to beg till we find really valid medical reasons why that's not the safest. I just can't see why that can't be the safest option, where we just have all negative cases. We're all living in bubbles, and you just don't get any connection with any outside team from the outside. For me, that's the safest way, and I think that will give us the best preparation to be good competition for the Lions. And I'm sure Warren would want us to be at full strength and have good match fitness before we play them in the first test match. So I can't say I'm confident. I'm hoping.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mark Gleeson. Craig Lewis.
Thanks, Rayan. Rassie, I was just wondering on that note then, with regards to Dwayne Vermeulen, if there's any update, and if he hasn't been part of your bubble, have you given up hope of bringing him in?
Yeah, this bubble will work very much the same as Alwyn Jones's bubble. Of course, Alwyn Jones apparently is close to joining them, so Dwayne is also in the mix maybe for the last test match. So the way Alwyn will join the bubble of the Lions, Dwayne will very much on the same basis join us if both of them obviously are fit. And there's a protocol for that, which is guided by that MAC, a Medical Advisory Committee. And yes, there is a chance for Dwayne, an outside chance for him, same as with Alwyn. We're not banking on that. We're just monitoring that.
Thank you, Craig. And Philisande, you up next.
Rassie, thanks. Good afternoon. Just wanted to find out, how much has this disturbed the processes? And I know you've touched on that again, but to have these guys now play on Wednesday and hopefully get some match fitness in, what does that give in terms of the preparation ahead of that first test match? Do you look at it from a point of at least we got getting some minutes under the belt, or are you looking for specific things to come out of that SAA game?
Yes, yeah. First, maybe just to give you guys some perspective in the reality that we're in. Not that we will ever use this as an excuse. And I know, at the end of the day, when we play, only the scoreboard will count. So please don't take this as an excuse. So the practical things that happened is that post the Georgia game, we on the Monday got a positive case, and then we had 11 positive cases up until now. So, we sat in our hotel rooms for, till yesterday, and we're still having dinner, breakfast, and supper in our hotel rooms. We had a training session yesterday, but that was restricted in certain areas, certain elements in terms of passing the ball and those kind of things. Today is the first day that we can actually practice like a normal rugby game, because we had, again, on 2 days in a row, not one positive case in this group of 34 players. And, we can scrum, we can maul, we can do everything now. But it's basically a Thursday before a Saturday test match or a Saturday SAA game. So obviously it had a big effect. But the guys worked really hard in those 3 weeks in Bloemfontein. So I guess losing 1 week, there was, prior to that 1 week, there was also 1 or 2 or 3 days that we were all in isolation when we first had the first case. So it's been tough in that way to keep the rhythm going, the program, let it flow. It was really tough. And then I think the difficult thing is to see, not the difficult thing, the interesting thing, what we're looking forward to is to see, how long can the guys last at that intensity, because we were really at a high intensity in Bloemfontein, but you can't do high intensity, well, at least alone in your room, you'll struggle to do high intensity. So let's see how it goes on Wednesday.
Just a quick follow-up, Rassie. I know there were plans to reduce this 46-man squad after this match. Is that still like a consideration, given the fact that there's been a lot of COVID cases within the squad?
No, it's a good question. No, I think that obviously changed. I think we are lucky that we actually picked 45. I actually think that we have now currently, we have exactly the same amount of numbers which the Lions have now currently available in their squad, or it might be 1 or 2 less or more. So, yeah, I think if we didn't have a squad of 46, we wouldn't have been able to field teams at certain stages. We are so comfortable that we will field a team of 23, or let's say the team of 23 players who's been negative for the last 10 days, so, they haven't been positive. So if we didn't have the 46 here, so hopefully we get another chance on Saturday, and, to give some other guys an opportunity, then we can't moan, then we got the Georgian test match back, if I can put it in inverted commas, because, the Brazilian Irish A side or midweek side will be a really tough match for us if we can play them twice. And then we're back on par. And then it's the same for everybody. It's a full training week, and we're into the series.
Thank you, Rassie. Thank you, Philisande. And Will Kelleher, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Riaan and Rassie. How are you?
No, not too bad, thank you.
The Lions have, as you were saying earlier, have had some big wins, but not necessarily, I guess, the competitive matches they might have wanted. Do you think that you're going to be able to surprise them on Wednesday night?
I don't think we'll surprise them. I think, we've coached a lot against most of the guys. Steve Standy, we coached against when I was at Munster, and the same with Warren at the World Cup and previous test matches. And we know most of the guys. Gregor, when he was at Glasgow, there's so many things that we know about each other, and then I think the players know so much about each other that I don't think there will be a surprise. I think it will just be a really great match. What I meant about interesting to see how they do against a team. It's just that the provincial sides, I'm not saying it's bad players, but if you take like 6, 7 senior players out of a provincial side, it's normally the guys that gives direction, that makes good decisions, that is experienced. I think they played against really good teams, but young and inexperienced teams. So I guess what I tried to say there is that the matchup now would be the coaches know each other, the players know each other. Some guys play in the Premiership against each other. Some guys play in the Pro 14, and even in they play these all over the world against each other. So I think it's exciting. That should have been maybe the word I should have used later to see. It would be interesting. I think it's exciting to see the matchups, and especially with the team that we picked. And I saw their team just briefly, and it's a very good team. So I think it's exciting times.
People outside of your squad are a little bit worried that with the lack of preparation, you guys are going to be ready for the test. Are you concerned about that? And what would you say to people who might doubt the Springboks going into that test series?
Well, some people have showed us, and I'm talking Argentina specifically now. Argentina went over there and beat the All Blacks on that side without playing a game. So that's why I say it can never be an excuse. We really ramped up the intensity of training. You can only get match time by playing matches, but we couldn't really in the last 10 days ramp up anything because the days are only full training, and tomorrow is the day before the match. So to ramp up the intensity while sitting in a room is really tough. But again, I'm referring back to Argentina. They did struggle in the games after that All Black game because then they didn't win a game again. I know they drew twice, but they didn't win a game again. But they showed you that guts and playing for your country and having the same goal and sacrificing for the same cause will certainly go a long way. And I'm pretty sure we've got some ill people in our management team that's really sick. We've got friends that passed away. So I think those things when you're playing, thus carry you a little bit further in the game, and that will certainly do that again. But to give us a really fair chance, I think another SAA game on Saturday would help a lot.
Thank you, Rassie. And I think to be fair to everyone, there's a large contingent. If you can please restrict your questions just to one. Craig Ray, you up next. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rayon. Hi, Rassie. Rassie, if you don't mind me saying, you're looking a bit tired and stressed, maybe. And
thank you.
I'm just thinking, it's a very stressful time and everything that's gone on. Taking away the financial imperatives of the tour, do you think it's actually losing some credibility? You're not able to pick teams you want. You're not able to train. You're concerned about loved ones and other illnesses. Do you think this Lion series is suffering from a credibility issue?
No, I don't think so. I think the only difference, which maybe, again, just to give you some context, is that the Lions are over here and they're sacrificing as much. And they're also in a hard bubble. They also got a case or two, and they also had to isolate or quarantine or whatever you want to call that. But it's the same for everybody. People will still sit at home and see the Lions playing the Springboks. We will still sing the anthems. We will still play for our country. It will still be a referee. The field is still 70 by 40 meters. That will be the same. It will be 15 guys on the field. The referee will do his best. The captains will do their best. We'll coach as well as we can. And we all got different situations in terms of where we are in the season. And I think the thing that we are trying to do is the Lion series is obviously for us the big thing this year. But the weekend after the last and final Lions test match, we play Argentina next 2 games, and then we're going on a plane to Australia for another 8 weeks, and then we've got 3 weeks off, and then we go to the end of year tour. So long term, we'll definitely, and that's why we have a squad of 46. That's why long term we'll definitely have to manage guys as mental well-being and player welfare, and again, I think player welfare, getting us into that first test, having 3 proper matches will again help with player welfare and even the guys just mental state to know you're playing, you're on the field, not having fans, having a COVID case here and there, and it's like an injury. You can see it like an injury. So No, it will be the Lions' best team next week, Saturday, against the Springbok's best team. So, no, it's just disruptions, but everybody has to go through that. So, it will be a Springbok team versus a Lions team, which will be a great, great match.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Ross. Daniel Schofield, good afternoon.
Hi, Rayon and Rassie. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. I just
Can I-
put it down.
So can I just check with the guys who tested positive most recently, so Sia and the other 5 players, what's your understanding of when they are available again? And is it realistic for them to play in that first test if they've been in their hotel room for 2 weeks?
Yeah, no, look, there's a return to play and train and play protocol, which we follow in South Africa. And depending on when they got the results, not the infection, the positive results, that determine if they can play or not. So some of them can definitely, I think, are available from that Wednesday, as some are available from that Thursday before the test match. Our coach, our head coach, and his assistant coaches, they are available to start coaching. They're flying back this Wednesday and can join us this Wednesday to coach again. Currently, myself, Don Iman, Zandile Stick, and Dion Davids are with the team. 2 of our physios are still in quarantine on that side or in isolation. We tested positive. One of our nutritionists is still that side. Jock is still that side in Joburg. One of our players are currently actually, who was a false positive, is actually driving in a car now from Joburg. So there's challenging things, but we still, the team that we will put on the park will be the best Springbok team. And yes, a guy like Sia will be, and Sia and a few others from the guys, Frans Steyn, Andre Pollard, those guys who tested positive really early, they might make it. And some guys, you can just slot in. And some guys, you can't just slot in. They take a little bit longer to, they need a few days and then to get the engines going and be ready for the game. So some guys will slot in immediately and it will be touch and go. And other guys will be ready for the second and third match.
Thank you, Rassie. Pieter Jordan.
Hi, dankie. Do you mind if I throw an Afrikaans question?
Yes, Rassie will answer in English. We have a large international media contingent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rassie. So, can it realistically be said that we could expect the team to be match fit for the first test, or is it becoming kind of unrealistic?
No, I think it's realistic. Let me just quickly recap what has happened the last 5 weeks. So some of the guys, I won't be long. Some of the guys came from Premiership games, their last game, straight to us. And then they went to a camp into Bloemfontein where we really had good intensity. And we needed 2 proper test matches and an SAA game to be ready for the Lions. And that was the planning. Some guys came from Currie Cup rugby. Some guys came from a final for Toulouse, Cheslin and Reinhardt. So in our mix, there's guys who played Pro 14. And then obviously there's guys who had injuries like Ergia and Damien who had that burn incident or fire incident. So there's different scenarios with different guys. But if we played Georgia, SAA, and then the test match, you can't ask for more to get guys match fit because you actually wanted to let them have that bit of a break and then the 3-week build up in Bloemfontein and then go into the matches. So we actually just lost 1 week of training and then 1 match. So the moment we get the match back on Saturday, actually what we lost is 7 days of sitting in a hotel room. But you don't, I think the clever guys will tell you, you don't go to pieces and totally out of shape in those 7 days. So no, we'll be okay. And it's a 3-match test series, so there will be injuries on both sides, I think, after the SAA game. And there'll be injuries after the first test match, and then other things coming to. I think a guy like Stuart Hawke hasn't really played. Yes, he has. But I mean, they must have case like the case they have and the close contacts they have. I mean, they had a 7-1 split against the Sharks. So it shows you if they've got a 7-1 split, that must be a super bomb squad. if you have a 7-1 split, because obviously they did that with cases, with positive cases or close contacts. So it's just disruptive for them as well. That's why we don't want to sit here and make it like excuses. We'll work around it.
Okay, thank you, Russ. Second last question then for this section goes to Ken Boland. Good afternoon, Ken.
Thanks very much, Rehan. Good afternoon, Rassie. I may have missed it, but I don't think you announced a captain for Wednesday.
Oh, no, I didn't. You're right.
Is it?
Sorry about that. No, it's Lucanio. Lucanio is the captain and Eben is the vice captain. Sorry. Thanks for helping me out there.
No worries. And is it fair to say that because you've lost the second Georgia test, it's kind of forced you into playing in the SAA team a lot of the guys that you'd be looking at for the first test?
Yeah, that's good. We had to. Yeah, spot on.
Thanks, Ken. And our final question goes to Lloyd Bernard.
Thanks, Ray. How's it, Rassie? If you look back to, I guess, the end of the Bloem camp, and specifically in terms of safety protocols, are you satisfied with the way those weeks unfolded in terms of looking after players and staff? Is there anything different that SA Rugby or you guys could have done in those weeks to limit the severity of this COVID outbreak you guys have experienced?
No. Without going into detail, I'm just going to sum it up in three points. The first one is when we were just us in Bloemfontein for 3 weeks, we didn't have a case for 3 weeks in a row. When we then got the guys in from all over the world, because Regulation 9 then kicked on on that Sunday before the first Georgian test match. And then we had one positive case, which was RG Snyman, which then actually had still burn wounds and stuff, and he was going back to the specialist, and he was actually moving out of our camp. So we didn't have any other positive case until we played Georgia. So, and then we got, after the Georgian test match, we got all the positive cases. Now I can promise you, after the Jordan test match, nobody went out of the hotel room, nobody were allowed to go out, and then the cases started building up. So that's why I feel the moment it's not always easy to control getting 3 or 4 different teams into your setup, no matter what they do. There's different players in different circumstances. So from our side, I'm fairly confident that up until that test match, we were doing really well. So after that, we had a few cases, but we've managed that now. We went into isolation, quarantine, returned to train, returned to play, and we've got 34 fit players now. So, there's a lot of sacrifices that the players made in terms of some partners not coming in. And if a partner comes in, there's a strict protocol where it's almost 10 days quarantine and you can't see them until the 11th day. So some guys have just stopped that. So a lot of sacrifices have been made actually to make sure, because we desperately want to play these test matches. So no, I'm really, really confident that none of the players were at fault or the management obviously weren't at fault for this.
Thanks.
On that note, I say thank you, Rassie, as you make way at the top table to make way and start our next section, and that will be interviews with Faf and with Cheslin. Please bear with us. We'll be starting shortly again.
Thank you, Rassie.